Good morning, everyone, and let's get started. Let's let's let let's sit in a comfortable position with our eyes closed, leaving our palms together on our lap, with our back straight and upright, and with our chest open, and with our shoulders dropped. And a very good morning to you all. So, as usual, we will allocate the first 45 minutes to practicing meditation, silent meditation. And then afterwards, there'll be our usual 15-minute Dhamma talk, and then question and answers in case you have any questions. That being said, first let's listen to the meditation gong. While listening to the meditation gong, shall we take a long deep breath, hold onto it, and then breathe out. And a third time. Listening to the meditation gong, we practice deep breath for 1 minute. Breathing in long and deep, holding onto it, the breath, and then releasing it. It's always advisable to remind you this statement that unless we take care of ourselves at the first place, we will not be able to help others who are on the receiving end of our help. So it is not because we are selfish that we radiate metta, radiate love, that we take care of ourselves at the first place, but because of the fact that when we are emotionally and mentally stronger and not fragile, we can help many other people on the receiving end of our help. So that is why we become healthy first. We become mentally or emotionally stronger first, so that we can help many other people. It's always good to take as much time as possible for ourselves at first place, so that we become peaceful within first. We become harmonious within first. And we see the value of self-love first. And we should be able to breathe first before helping others to breathe. That's why it's always good to incorporate a sense of self-care, self-metta into our morning mindful breath. And let's incorporate that sense of self-love, self-care into our morning mindful breath. And take a long, deeper breath again. And tell ourselves, may I take care of myself happily. Even though there are people who would come to help me, come to my rescue, but they can only go to a certain extent in helping me. Beyond a certain point and regarding certain problems and issues, I have to deal with them all by myself. Plus, those people who are willing to help me have to deal with their own problems. So that whether or not I have help, Whether or not there is help available to me, I should learn to take care of myself happily at the first place anyway. So as you practice your mindfulness meditation this morning, and always maintain a sense of self-care, self-love, self-metta into your focus on mindful breath. And at the same time, as usual, we don't provide you with any guidelines or kammatthana in the middle of meditation. And we do meditation with extended silence. And then in case halfway through or in the middle of meditation, you feel like your mind is getting flooded with anti-focus mental tendencies such as feelings, sensations, memories, etc. As well as so that at that point you may not rush to validate them, qualify them. You may not run after them. Simply take a deeper breath and relax and tell yourself that you are having an ample opportunity to see that mind can be very tricky. So instead of getting agitated by those thoughts that flood, mental tendencies that flood your mind, you can simply observe and let them go as they arise and pass. And they are called inner distractions. At the same time, you may also hear some outer or external distraction, meaning any sound, any noise from your backgrounds, your surroundings. And they also bother you. They can also, such distractions also can bother you. And you don't validate them as well. Simply observe them, such external distractions, just like you let go of inner distractions, you let go of those outer distractions also as well. And as we continue, you may encounter certain mental pains that are called domanuses, or physical or bodily pains that are called dukkhas. When such mental and physical pains occur, instead of getting angry or getting frustrated or disappointed, be happy that you are having a rare opportunity to test yourself, to see the true nature of your mind and body, that mind and body are not safe from aches and pains. And at that point, you are being given an ample opportunity to analyze and look at those pains from what is called the Vipassana approach. And then be happy, then dissolve those pains, and so that they would start going away. That being said, as the bell is hit one more time, we will start our meditation in silence. Based on the level of experience, some of you are able to go to Vipassana level right away, where some of you still need to regenerate, re-enhance, or strengthen your samatha or your calm meditation. Feel free, you don't necessarily stick to the guidelines that I have just given you. And then whatever the meditation techniques you have practiced all in your life, so you can stick to them as well, not necessarily what I have mentioned at this point. So listen to the meditation one more time. Let's start our meditation. And the topic that I have chosen for this morning is this: an easier way to see the Buddha. An easier way to see the Buddha. It's based on a statement that Buddha made himself once. The statement goes like this in Pali. Let me say that in Pali, then I will translate it. So, yo dhammang passati, so mang passati. Yo paticca samuppadang passati, so dhammang passati. And let me repeat that statement by the Buddha in Pali. Yo dhammang passati, so mang passati. Yo paticca samuppadam passati, so dhammam passati. Translated: Yo dhammang passati. Whosoever sees Dhamma, his teaching, so mam passati, sees me at this point, because he is referring to himself, but in fact he is referring to the position of Buddha, because Buddha himself is making the statement at that point. So actually it's not himself, but at that point he is making the statement. Being the Buddha, he refers to himself, means he refers to Buddha in general. So accordingly, we can translate it again like this. So whosoever sees Dharma sees the Buddha. And that's the first part of the statement. And the second part of the statement is, Yo paticca samuppadam passati, so dhammam passati. And then whosoever sees paticca samuppada, or the interdependent origination of everything, sees the Dharma. So once again, let me repeat the whole thing in translation, the whole thing in English translation. Whosoever sees the Dharma sees the Buddha. And whosoever sees interdependent origination of everything sees the Dharma. Now that's the translation of that statement by the Buddha in Pali. And then what the statement means is, now, so people, you come across people, probably you are among them, that people keep waiting for the next Buddha Maitreya to arrive in the world. And some worry that they miss Buddha Gautama, who lived in the 6th century BCE. And some worry that they might have seen so many Buddhas in the past, but they fail to listen to the Dharma from them, so that they would have been able to achieve nirvana. And then I have come across lots of people that instead of trying to see the Buddha within this very lifetime, as per the statement, they keep waiting for the next Buddha Maitreya to arrive in the world. There's nothing wrong with that. But why not try to see the Buddha within this very lifetime, based on this statement? Now, so how to see the Buddha according to this statement? It is by seeing his teaching Dharma that you can actually see him, even though he's not physically here in the world. And Buddha was a historical figure as well. Historically, he lived in the 6th century BCE. Doctrinally, Buddha, even though Buddha has passed away, and then he is still here, doctrinally, not historically. So doctrinally, Buddha is still available to us. We can see him. How? It is by seeing him through his teaching, which is called Dharma. Dharma or Dhamma in Pali. Now, what is Dharma here according to statement? Dhamma is the true, to see the true nature of everything. What is the true nature of everything? And everything includes your physical body, your mind, your selfhood, your possessions, your belongings, your properties. And so myself, my belongings, my properties, so my selfhood, and then overall anything that is made, that is conditionally made, because things are created by causes and conditions. So other than nirvana, which is the complete deconstruction of the relativity of everything, everything else is conditioned. So nirvana is the only thing that is unmade, that is not conditioned. Everything below that is a product, an outcome of one cause or a number of causes based on conditions. So that is so that is called the teaching of interdependent origination, or in other words, it's called the teaching of cause and effect. Now, an effect, for example, your physical body is a creation by a number of causes based on conditions, genes, parental genes, nutrition, karma, consciousness, etc., etc. So, and then I'm not going to explain interdependent origination at this point, because you have studied that a lot in the past. But at this point, what I want to say is that according to this statement by the Buddha, Dharma is the interdependent origination, or his teaching of cause and effect. And everything, every result, every outcome has a reason, has a cause or a number of causes and conditions behind that. And then a cause and effect created by causes and conditions is not permanent. So that an effect could become the cause, and effect could become the cause for another effect. So the causes and effects are not permanent, and then so that their existence is relative. The existence of a cause is relative to its effect. The existence of an effect is relative to its cause and conditions. And then so that is why everything in the world, in the universe, including the world or the universe itself, is conditionally made. They are made of causes and conditions. Now, so that is called dharma then. Now, when you understand the cause and effect, the reality of cause and effect, thereby you comprehend, you see the Buddha's teaching, and through that you can see the Buddha. So the conclusion of the statement is that by realizing, by comprehending, by seeing the cause and effect of anything, starting from yourself and going to anything in the world, and the universe itself. So everything is a result of a cause or a number of causes based on conditions. And that's how the nature is. They are not fixated anywhere. Things are subject to change. And so that is the interdependent origination or paticca samuppada. Now, to have a sense of paticca samuppada or interdependent origination or dependent origination, or at times you call it conditioned genesis, is to see the Dharma by understanding the cause, the reason or a cause behind your problem, and then thereby coming to a conclusion that a problem is not permanent and it is the reflection of one or number of causes or reasons nurtured by conditions. You can find solace in your life. And then, for example, if we broke a long time ago, we had the retreat based, and then so that and that was based on one theme. The theme was that the within brackets broken cup, the unbroken cup. The prefix un is within brackets and broken. Then un within brackets within in parenthesis broken. Even though, and then yesterday you broke by accident you broke your favorite cup made of clay, and it had a lot of sentimental value behind that. And so that when you were cleaning your house, you happen to break the cup, and you were very sad. Why? Because you broke the cup. And so because of the sentimental value, due to the sentimental value of the cup, it was priceless. Probably you got it as a gift, as a souvenir a long time ago. And then what your immediate reaction or response was that you picked the two biggest pieces of the broken cup and put them together. Usually people do that. And then why? Because even though the moment you experience the breaking of the cup, what you do that is you get shocked right away. You want to convince yourself that the cup is not broken. So that's why that is your biological, that's your emotional and biological response to the cup that is now broken already. And you pick the two biggest pieces, or the next few biggest pieces, and the next biggest pieces, and try to put them together, and always, and then you maintain. And then you understand at the same time, you have a glimpse of the actual reality now, that actually there's no point putting pieces together, because the cup is broken in a way that it is beyond repair. But and it for the next few months to come, and then you will still maintain, at least subconsciously, that the cup is not broken yet. Why? Because of your attachment to it, and in your imagination, in your thoughts, in your subconscious mind, you still believe that the cup is not broken yet, and it is intact, even though it is now gone. But whereas when you come to a point at which you convince yourself honestly and that the cup is now broken, you have to let go of that. It's already gone. And when you understand that, so that the broken cup no longer tortures you, the broken cup no longer remains a source of sadness to you. Why? Now you know that the cup is already broken. And then months later, perhaps it takes you some time, and on and off your sadness is back. But again, as I said, months later or sometime later, you come to a point, depending on your understanding of interdependent origination. Perhaps in certain cases, it takes years to realize that the cup is now broken and is gone. In certain cases, it at no time do you understand the cup is now gone and there's no point worrying about it. So depending on your understanding, also depending on the level or the degree of attachment to it that you have. So, and then you understand that the cup is now gone forever. And at that point, you make up your mind. And now that is, at that point, at that point, you realize what is called Paticca or the cause and effect, teaching of cause and effect, or the interdependent or interdependent origination or dependent origination or conditioned genesis, however you call it. And now at that point, you see a sense of, you are having a sense of the Buddha. Buddhas appear in the world to teach us that the world, that anything made of causes and conditions, it does not have a fixed or the permanent value. And then when the conditions and causes and conditions fall apart, when the relativity is gone, and then things are no longer existent, it's already gone. And then, so there's a story that corresponds to this statement, to this teaching actually, not the actual statement, but that story would help you understand that without the physical presence of the actual Buddha before you, and then you can still realize his teachings, realize the Dharma. Now, the story is from Buddha's time. I know some of you already know the story. Probably every one of you know the story, but anyway, just because of its relevance to this topic this morning, and easier way to see the Buddha, let me tell you the story. Now, this is from Buddha's time. And there was this young man, Pukkusati by name, and he was from a rich family. He was unmarried, and then now he owned the family business, the property. And then right from his childhood, he had this feeling, strong connection to the word Buddha. And he grew up telling himself that one day he would meet the Buddha. And now he is a young man, young handsome man, and then he was from a rich family, and then so that he was supposed to run the family business. But one day he found himself listening to an incredible news from someone, and the news was that Buddha had now appeared in the world. When he heard that Buddha had now appeared in the world, and then he experienced an incredible joy, and then he thought to himself, he told himself that it was now time for him to leave his lay life and to become a wandering monk. And then he also told himself, I may or may not meet the Buddha who has now appeared in the world, but still I should leave behind all my belongings, all my mundane things, and then I should become a monk myself, a wandering monk. I may or may not meet him, but my ordination, my taking up by my becoming a wandering monk is in the name of the Buddha who has now appeared in the world. And then, so that soon he would ask his family to take care of all his business, and he would leave everything behind. He would leave all his mundane things behind and then live his lay life, thereby becoming a wandering monk. He ordained himself. Self-ordination is was very common in the Buddha's time. Even to this day, there are self-ordained monks, self-ordained ascetics, hermits, different kinds of monks and priests and meditators, mendicants in India. And now becoming so that now this rich young man turned wandering humble monk started his journey, because now he started his travel, and he would go from place to place and then meeting different people, meditating, acquiring knowledge from different people, and and then at the same time, in the back of his mind, he had that wish that he meet Buddha one day. But again, at the same time, it wasn't certain that he would meet him one day. But anyway, now as he was traveling, so towards the nightfall, he happened to pass the night. He was now looking for a place to sleep over, to pass the night. And it was very common in India at that time, or even today actually, that people would so pass the night in industrial places. In this story, it was a pottery place or a pottery hall. So that doesn't function at night, and so that so those who the pottery business doesn't run at night time, so that it is empty. It's a big empty hall, and then so that such place would be an easier place for wandering monks and ascetics and different kinds of religious people who don't have a permanent home to stay at night. So that now this self-ordained young monk Pukkusati happened to come by that place, and then he thought, and then he was so happy that he now got a place to stay at night. And then as he entered the hall, he noticed that he was kind of shocked to see that it was already crowded, and there were so many religious people from different backgrounds sitting face to face, interpersonal or in groups, and arguing and debating with each other over what they believe, what they know. And then it's very common in vast Indian vast Guru culture, and you know that too. Even to this date in India, Indian religious society is vastly based on what is called this Guru culture. Guru culture means when you convince me that what your knowledge is right, at that point I am compelled to become your student, meaning you become my guru. Just like in Chinese culture, especially in martial arts culture, whosoever gets defeated usually becomes the student of the victorious person. Just like in martial arts culture in China, so that the winner becomes the guru. And then, like in India, based on so when you win the debate, a philosophical, religious, metaphysical debate, and you become the guru. Now that is the most salient characteristic of Indian, the Guru culture. Now anyway, now Pukkusati was now seeing different people from different religious backgrounds arguing and debating with each other on their beliefs, on what they knew, on what they know, etc. So that, and at the same time, when he scanned around, he saw another young man of his age sitting quiet in a corner, and there was no one to talking to him, and he wasn't talking to he wasn't talking to anyone. He was by himself. And then Pukkusari thought to himself, why not approach him? And I'm having a friend, I can have a dialogue with him, a chat with him. So now he approached him, and then he opened his eyes and looked at Pukkusati, and the Pukkusati asked him the very usual question that any religion in Indian Guru culture, in any Indian religious culture would ask. Who are you and who is your teacher? What do you believe in? What do you know? Tell me. And at that point, the other unknown religious man did not introduce himself. That I don't have a guru, I don't have a teacher, but this is what I know. And then he explained, yes, please, I am newly ordained. I ordained myself. Please tell me what you know, Pukkusati requested. And then the other unknown man started telling him what he knew. And then he would speak and he would keep speaking for some time. And then he gave an in-depth account of what he knew as a religious person. And toward the end of his presentation, his sharing, and Pukkusati was so happy. And then he thanked, he paid his gratitude to that unknown man by saying this: since my childhood, I believed I wanted to see the Buddha one day. Whenever I heard the word Buddha, something happened to me. I was so happy, and so that is why I had now learned that Buddha had appeared in the world, and so that when I knew right away, I left my mundane life, my lay life, all my belongings, my property, my mundane comfort, and all that, and I ordained myself and became a wandering monk. And I told myself, I may or may not see the Buddha, but that's okay. My ordination is for him. So I never thought that I would meet you this soon. And he was the unknown religious man, was none other than the Buddha himself. Now, and then by listening to the Buddha, Pukkusati attained the third stage of enlightenment, anagami, non-return. And there was one more stage for him to go to complete his enlightenment, arahanthood. Now, and the Pukkusati was so happy. Now, what we learn from this story is Buddha didn't tell Pukkusati that he was the Buddha. He didn't introduce himself. He simply shared what he knew. So, without knowing that Pukkusati was now listening to the Buddha himself, despite the fact that he didn't know that it was the Buddha, now whom he was listening to, despite the fact that Buddha didn't introduce himself, he didn't reveal what his identity to Pukkusati at the beginning. Pukkusati did achieve the third stage of enlightenment. He realized the third stage of enlightenment, anagami. Now, when you don't, at that point, so that Pukkusati was ready. He was ready to realize the Dharma. When you are dedicated, when you create the grounds for yourself to practice the Dharma, and then so that when you are honestly willing to realize these teachings, despite whatever the problems or issues you are going through in your life, you can realize some Dharma. Now, so that is at that point So that's what I thought. Based on today's topic, an easier way to see the Buddha, I thought I should share the story, the corresponding story. Thank you. Any questions? Okay. So thank you so much for joining us this morning on Zoom for this for our 45-minute meditation and brief Dhamma talk. Thank you, and see you next Sunday morning as well. May you be well, happy, and peaceful. Bhavattu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sada satti bhavantu te. Bhavattu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba dhammanubhavena sada satti bhavantu te. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba sanghanubhavena sada satti bhavantu te. May you be well, happy, and peaceful. Thank you all.
You'd say that, but then eventually it just became obvious to me.
Yeah,
that
it is.
kind of
because metta and upekkha are independent, because at no time should metta give you an emotional imbalance. For whomsoever you radiate metta, regardless of who come into your metta, and you never lose your balance.
Right. Oh, that's real good. I'm absorbing things slowly, but yeah, I'll get there.
Actually, the best thing is, and not the speed, but how stable you are, right? How steady you are.
Yeah, that's not as easy. It's easier said than done.
I know. I have come across some people who rush into understanding or realizing the dharma or the realities, and they are, and immediately and right away they are back to square one, and they have to start all over again. But that is torturous. That's not the way. It's always good to take time and slow move at slow pace.
Yeah.
You are doing the right thing.
Well, what I just thought earlier is that the teaching is so good that as we acquire more understanding, it gets better. The stories get So even if we heard everything, we think we know everything. Wait a second.
That's right. Yeah.
But that's okay. Learning is good. Well,
always there's a building block between what we understand and what we have already experienced.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you go.
Okay.
And thanks a lot.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you.